Sex is given in marriage. Why would you struggle to express that desire?
The man wants sex more than woman does.
Yeah. If I can just be tag along, allow you to get your release, and then have a conversation. Look, I've done this, but actually, the truth is, I'm struggling with A, B, C, and D.
Wow, that's okay. You're saying it the other way around, because I would know of people women who would want to talk about the elephant in the room first before you touch me.
That's why I said wisdom takes a wise woman.
Hello, welcome again. Welcome to our program. Welcome to Let's Talk Marriage, the podcast. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. We have a great guest today. She's been here before, firm in the word, she knows all things marriage and everything else. She's good to go, man. I love this lady.
Hello,
Duchess.
hello, Chris.
How are
It's
ya?
good to be back.
Yeah.
The Duchess is definitely back.
And you look great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I do my bit.
I know.
I do my bit for the royal space. I do my best, to understand what this whole marriage institution is about. And I try and give my best off that, But I'm also a work in progress. Been at it for 29 years.
Oh.
But just still learning. You never stop learning. Yeah. It's one of those institutions where you are continuously learning.
The man doesn't show you love. Are you going to submit to them? Because the Bible says, love your husbands. Men love your husband, then wife submit. Yeah, I see you're laughing. Because I know it's a problem, because, you don't love me, so why, I struggle to submit because I don't feel loved. Do they have to go hand in hand? Or just because the Bible says, then let me submit because that's what the Bible says. Tells me.
You've caught me out there, because I'm just like, yes, my place is to submit to you, but I also have an expectation of love from you. When we got together, we didn't. When people start dating, when they see each other and they like each other and this that day, it's not. I'm not thinking submission. Okay, so I'm just going to go into this relationship because submission. No, there is a spark. There is something that develops into love. So love is always there.
What happens when the love goes?
I think it should not be allowed to go.
Yeah.
We should not be allowed to go. We should be working on it. We should be constantly working on it. We have to be intentional. We have to just be doing things deliberately. Because yes, I don't want to say, I don't know whether it's correct to say that it goes. I think it just kind of, the levels just change sometimes. But I think that comes with responsibility. Life can take over. Mortgages take over, children take over, careers can take over, other family dynamics can, but I don't know.
So, okay, let's talk about sex then.
Okay.
Just keep on the same lines. So, if I don't show you that I love you, you're gonna struggle with submission? Are we still gonna have sex or no? Is that gonna be a problem?
Personally, I would struggle. I would struggle because love is a real factor in marriage. Okay, love is, for me. If there is no love, then I'm going to struggle. I don't know about other women, but personally, I would.
Yeah, but we're not we're basing on the Bible, because every time we started off, you take me to the Word of God. So I'm going to take you to the Word of God.
Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. So then, if you take me back to the Word of God, it does say, "Man, love your wives as Christ loves the church."
Yeah.
So you should be loving me anyway, in the first place.
Yeah.
So where do we come off where there is no love? How come you're not giving me love when you're being instructed to love me?
Okay. Maybe the love. Maybe that's not the wrong. What I should have said. I should have said. If our relationship is frosty, maybe we're arguing all the time and stuff like that. Is this going to be difficult for you to submit to me sexually? Are you still going to struggle with that?
It will be difficult, but I think it's not a showstopper. I need to.
No, it's a deal breaker. Oh, it's okay. I can tell you for a fact.
We should be talking about it, Chris. If there is something that I'm struggling with, I should be in a place. You should be in my safe space. I should be feeling comfortable
Absolutely.
to express any concerns, any issues, whatever I'm struggling with, my feelings, Chris. And I think it works both ways. You should also be in that same place. Express yourself. I'm really struggling with this, and then we iron it out. We have a conversation about, we talk about it. How best can we work around this? What will work for you? How can I make it work for you? And then we can go on to the next level. We can then have sex. But if we are not having conversation, I think if we are not careful, we're gonna end up in a very, very precarious situation where if I'm withholding or you're withholding, there is a temptation to then start looking elsewhere.
Oh yeah.
If we are not dealing with this thing, because there's always something there, people just don't disconnect.
And do you think that, would you be, I don't know about, not you personally, maybe you personally you would be, but do you think in general a woman should be worried if they're not giving their man sex and for them looking outside, or that doesn't come into play? Because I think for a lot of women, they withhold the sex, they don't think about the man going out, they just withhold it anyway.
Yeah.
So do you think that could be a worry? Should be a worry for women?
Yeah, it should be. It should be, because then if you're depriving him of that, it's a God-given thing, If you're depriving him of that kind of intimacy, what are you expecting him to do?
Absolutely.
He is expecting that from you. You're his wife. And you're the rightful person for him to get that kind of intimacy from. But if you're not giving him that, what are you expecting this man to do? The next best thing, he's going to get frustrated and he's going to start thinking, I just need some kind of release. So he will go out there, not to find love, but to find release. But then if that becomes a habit, God help us, what can become of that kind of habit? Yeah.
So then how about, is it a struggle then to, okay, coming from a background that we both come from, there's that expectation of you're married to the man and you gotta give me my rights, whether or not you feel like it. Not whether you feel like it. Whether we have an argument or not, whether what I still expect on the basis of, if you don't, or if you keep withholding it because we're having problems, then the risk is I'm gonna go out. I'm not threatening I'm gonna go out, but there's that risk that might happen. But we're having issues all the time. So because of these issues, we can't have sex, or we're having problems. Me as the man, I find it easy because for men, it's easy. You touch me and I'm ready. But for the woman, there's that more of the emotional thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you're struggling with that because all we do is argue. So the intimacy is not really there when you go home, when you go to bed. But I need that intimacy anyway.
Right.
So where does that leave me? Shall we have it? You get over the fact that I need to have it to get the release, or you stay the way you are, withhold it, and risk me going out.
Okay.
Look elsewhere.
First of all, what is the reason for...
Just arguments, just not getting on. I mean, it could be anything, Grace.
Okay. So when it's being withheld, are we giving conditions or what? Because then if we're doing that, then we're weaponizing it, aren't we? If we're going to say, well, unless you do this, or unless you say sorry, or unless something happens, then you can have this, then that's weaponizing it, isn't it? It becomes a tool, and then that just defeats the purpose, So it should... I know we're always talking about an ideal, and everybody is striving towards this ideal,
Ideal world.
place, ideal world, we should not allow things, we should be able, at the first sight of a situation or a red flag, something concerning, I should be honest enough and open enough to address it, and so should you. If maybe I'm the one, so maybe, for example, I'm the one who's withholding because you've done something. I'm upset. You didn't meet an expectation. Instead of sulking, instead of withholding, I should actually just be open and honest and say, look, Chris, I'm really upset because of A, B, C, and D, and you've not shown any remorse. You haven't actually addressed that. And because of that, I'm struggling to be intimate with you, put it on the table. Yeah. So that you're aware. Because also, on the other hand, if I'm just going to just have sex because you want to have sex, then you're on your own, mate. Like, that's a one-man game, because I've heard a lot of stories, where it's just an activity. Because he
the woman is not participating, so to speak.
Yes, it's I call it a one-man band, because somebody is, there's something festering. They have not. There's something they have not allowed the partner to address. And so they just do it, but they're not getting anything out of it. It's just an act.
So would you not rather do that so that he can get the release in to where your happiness is kind of jeopardized, as opposed to not having it at all?
So you're saying that I should just tag along?
I mean, I've heard
that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I should just tag along so that you get your release, because obviously it's more important for you to get your release, because, oh my God, you're going to go out there and get somebody else and I'm going to be in trouble.
No.
This is what I'm hearing.
No, it's not.
I'm hearing.
It's not
but I respect you. You're kind of saying, are we not better off with a situation where at least the guy gets released and then he's not having to disturb our marriage by trying to go and get help somewhere else? But I think it's also equally important.
Yeah, you can that you also get fulfilled.
Yes, because we're supposed to be enjoying this together.
You can look at it that way, but you can also look at it in the sense of, listen, men need this release, and I've seen all these things on Instagram especially, and because I follow this stuff. Once I follow one, then I get another one that says the same, and it's always women talking actually.
Right.
Oh, women. And they're talking to women.
Right.
Don't withhold sex from a man. The man needs sex every time. Or this. The man wants to do this. So what they're saying is that the man wants sex more than woman does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you can look at it in that sense where you're saying that, let me have it with the man so he doesn't go look outside.
Right.
That's one way of looking at it. Or you can look at it in the sense that, you know what, I might not really want to do it. Especially maybe I might even be tired. Forget about even the argument. I might be tired, but for the sake of the man, for him to have to that bit where he's going to feel that, he's wanted, or the release as it were, let me have it with him. I don't really feel like it, but I want...
Yeah.
Can you not look at it that way as well? Or do you always have to be in that space where I want it as well? So it's got to be that partnership.
It takes a wise woman. It takes a wise woman to keep a marriage, I think we've dropped the word compromise a couple of times in our conversations. Sometimes we have to compromise, not to our detriment, but just to try and get to a place where things are amicable. Things will not always be as straightforward as we would like them to be. So compromise comes into play. And if I'm a wise woman, of which I am,
absolutely,
I would not want to risk my husband going out there to get release with somebody else, because it's released today, it's released tomorrow. The third time it's relationship. They've established a kind of connection, and then when he comes to me, there is no expectation now of that kind of intimacy, because he's got an alternative. He's got an option out there. So he doesn't really have to work hard, But I just, ideally, we should be working it out. We should be talking about it. We should be having a conversation. I want to have sex. You want to have sex, but there's something that's disturbing me. Let's have sex. If I can just be tag along, allow you to get your release, and then have a conversation. Look, I've done this, but actually the truth is I'm struggling with A, B, C, and D.
Wow, that's okay. You're saying it the other way around, because I would know of people women who would want to talk about the elephant in the room first before you touch me.
That's why I said wisdom takes a wise woman.
Yeah, but I love women, and I've seen this a few times actually, and I know, I've seen this where the woman says, we're gonna have sex, but I expect you to do not necessarily weaponizing. Okay, you could do, maybe it's weaponizing in a way, but I come home, I'm tired, or I'm at home with the children all the time. I'm tired. Yeah. So when you come home, if you really want this sex, help me out in the house, make make the atmosphere nice. Wash the dishes for me, help me out, stuff so that I can also put my feet up and so on. And when I've had a bath or shower, then maybe then you can get intimate. And I've realized even after you've done all of that, the woman still doesn't want the sex anyway. Okay.
Okay. Then I think there is an underlying, there is something else deeper than that.
Yeah.
Then it's just no longer about that.
There's
something else festering. And obviously that definitely would need to be addressed. Because I think, to be honest, we cannot neglect intimacy in marriage.
Yeah.
It cannot, we do not have the luxury of neglecting intimacy, because it can create all sorts of problems for the marriage. So we have to be intentional, make time, like be deliberate. So we have kids, so it's busy, everything else is taken over. Let's get a weekend out. Let's go out somewhere, Lake District. Let's fly off to France, go to Italy, do a weekend out, and just be the two of us. We talk, pillow talk. How are you? We check in. What's happening with you? Are you okay? And we have those kind of conversations. We reconnect away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life, and then we come back and we're renewed. We're new people. And so sometimes it just takes an extra effort to just come away. Because maybe like you rightly said, she's tired, she's at home, she's got the kids. Change the environment. Surprises. Just come home, honey. We pack your bags, weekend away, off to the airport. There I am in Italy, and we're good to go.
I love that. I love that. There's the other woman now who, like I was about to say earlier, wants to address the elephant in the room. Like you say, you do it differently. You're the wise woman who, you'd approach it differently. But there's a woman who, we can sit and talk. Like, we're married.
Yeah.
We do stuff together. We sit, we cook, we watch telly, whatever, we're chatting. But maybe we've had an argument a day before, 2 days ago, and we've kind of not addressed that. And we just come back and we're just talking to each other, because obviously we need to kind of carry on doing life, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when you go to bed, now when I try and touch you, is when now you're going to try and tell me, listen, 2 days ago you did X, Y, Z.
Right.
I need that addressed. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to open my legs.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. No.
So, so that becomes a problem. Now you suffer. And then you're like, really? Why didn't you talk about it before? You waited till when you go to the bed. When I want to get intimate, is when now you're telling me about. But if I hadn't tried to touch you, this wouldn't have come up, would it? Because all along we were talking, all along we ate together, we did whatever it is that we could do that is outside of the physical.
Yeah.
But when now there's the intimacy, now that's when you've realized now there's this issue that you need addressing.
Then we'll find ourselves back on weaponizing. They're weaponizing it then,
I would have thought so.
Yeah, that's weaponizing it, when we shouldn't be doing that. We I don't know about everybody else, but that's just out of order. We have no place weaponizing sex, because we're making it a tool and, not intimacy anymore. So it also takes a wise man. So if there's been an argument, there's been some disagreement.
But you don't know what she's going to serve up. You don't know what.
But women are easy sometimes. Women, you can pick up the signals. We wear faces. The mood is different. I'm not as cheerful. I'm not smiley. You can pick up something is off. And after time, women ask, "What's wrong?" Nothing.
Yeah.
When we say that, you need to do a bit more digging, because definitely there is something there. So if you are a wise man and you're clear. We've had this argument. And you're planning on having sex, I would say, if Chris is a wise man, start it slow, little things. Drop me a text while you're at work. Bring back some flowers. Put a little note somewhere. Touch me. just reassurance somewhere, because then I'm getting there. Okay, we've had the argument, but there's connection. We've had the argument, but he still cares. He's touching me. He's texting me. I love you. Out of the blue, I love you. I miss you. We've had the argument. We haven't actually properly addressed the argument, but you're being a wise man. You're being smart. You send the text, and I'm looking at my phone. I'm thinking, oh my God, he misses me.
Yeah.
So it kind of just, it has a way of melting those things. So even by the time we then come into the bedroom and you know, we want to be intimate, yes, we have an issue that we haven't properly addressed, but I've warmed up to all these other little things that you've done so far. So I will open up to you. And once we've done that, then, you know, come to a place to say, look, Chris, you know what? Thank you very much. Oh, this has been amazing. But, you know, the other day I was really pissed off with you because of A, B, C, and D. We can't do that. So you also just need to be a wise man. You know your woman. Study your woman. What is her love language? If you've really upset her, what can I do to make this right? Because, you know, there's no... I don't know if there's a man who would actually turn around and say, well, I don't know what's wrong with her. If you've had an argument, you know what's wrong. You've had an argument. You know, and we are quick to show when there's issues. Sometimes we just withdraw. We're quiet. We're not talking. We're not as expressive. We're not doing the things that we normally do. You know, sometimes I'm all over you. I'm touching you. Then I stop. Yeah. When you're at work, I'm bothering you with texts. What you up to? How's your day? And I've stopped doing that. Yeah. Then you know there's a problem. Yeah. So what is her love language? What is Grace's love language? Oh, she loves affirmation. Drop her a text. Miss you, babe. Just wish you were here. Yeah. Can't wait to do this. And that kind of thing.
That works wonders a bit.
Yes.
And you can do that. You can actually pretend that all those things and we still get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're a wise man, you can. I mean, yeah.
Sorry. Shouldn't have said that, but yeah.
You will get into trouble.
Yeah.
You will get into trouble with women if they hear that you know, but that's just how it works. And we have to be intentional, Chris. Yes. It's not going to work itself. Marriage is not going to work itself. Yes, you have to just be deliberate about everything. You know, there are some people who are like in honeymoon they've been married for years and they're like in honeymoon stage because they've mastered the game of keeping their romantic life, of keeping it real. You know, we don't have to stop being romantic. Or, you know, because we have children, because we have bigger responsibilities now. No, if you want it to work, you can make it happen.
And do you think men should always initiate sex, or is it something?
Not at all.
Because I found that, again, coming from the background that we come from, again, it's always expected that the man is the one who's going to initiate the sex. Yeah. I like that bit there where you just said, forget even about if we've had an argument. Even if you haven't had an argument, this is something I've learned over the years now as a grown-up. Yes. That women don't think like women do. As in, oh, I want to have sex and bosh, turned on. You got to start, you want to have sex in the evening, you got to start in the morning.
Absolutely, 100.
I've learned that along the way.
We're wired differently.
Yeah.
We are wired differently.
So I gotta keep on that, like you're saying. If I'm not at home or we work messages, whatever, or even if I'm at home with you, or whatever, touching you, doing stuff, you know, prepare you. By the time we get to the evening, you're ready. You know. So that said, can it work the other way then? In terms of, because I've known where women kind of, she can come. I'm the man. I'm watching TV. I'm watching my favorite team, and then you come up to. Not necessarily come up to me, but you're just doing your housework stuff, and then you're dressed in a sexy manner. You're trying to entice me. So, but I'm not seeing it. But that's your way of trying to, you know, hey, babe,
get your attention.
Yeah, see me there.
Okay.
Do a little dance moves or whatever. But I can't. No, I'm busy watching my, you know, and maybe that might put you off. And that's your way of initiating. You don't necessarily have to come up to me and start touching me or whatever for me to know. Oh, yeah, she actually up for it. So. I know women who can get put off with that. You know, maybe that's why women always expect that women initiate, and I find it a bit tiring.
No, I think it's a wrong expectation because it was not designed for men. It was designed for all of us, for both of
Yeah,
us.
yeah, okay. Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
so it would be so wrong to say that, you know, only men should be initiating. And just taking you back to that example that you gave about, you know, maybe you're watching your football game and then she's coming in her sexy lingerie trying to get your attention. If I were that woman, I would apply wisdom. Okay, Chris is watching football because that's what he enjoys, that's what he likes. So I tap into your hobbies.
Good.
I tap into that.
You go and
I
watch,
get into football.
Okay.
I just get into football. You know, as much as you would get into what I like. You know, so I would sit down. Oh, what are you watching? Who's playing? What are you doing? What do you support? What are we supporting? You know, your team is my team, kind of thing. You know, I get into your space. You know, so we should be having those shared, you know, hobbies, things that we do together. And when I come and I sit down there in my sexy lingerie, we're watching football now, but I'm there and I'm doing my game and we're watching football. By the time that game is over, you're ready.
Even before it's over. You never
Exactly.
know. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, but then, how? What if the man wants the sex, and this is again for me, maybe it's a personal thing, and you don't know how to initiate it with your spouse in terms of she's there, you're in the house together, and you actually want to show her that you want the sex, not necessarily just there and then, but even if it's a bit later, and you're thinking, how am I going to show her that, you know, without really, you know, making too obvious, if you like.
And why are you afraid of making it too obvious? Because it's given. It's given in sex is given in marriage. Why would you struggle to express that desire?
Because you don't know, maybe she doesn't want it, or again, it could be, like I said earlier, maybe you've had an argument a day or so before, so you can do the talking, like we're talking now. We can talk about the weather, but when it comes to that's not normal, isn't it? Everyone talks about stuff that doesn't make sense. But when now it comes to the stuff that I actually want, that is important to me at that point, then I'll struggle with that, because maybe I'm sitting. We're not even if you're sitting like this, it's even difficult. But if you're sitting across side by side and the telly is over there and they're watching telly, but my intention is not to watch telly. My intention is want to reach out to you. So how do I kind of start reaching out to you so that you know I want sex? I personally, I struggle with it. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, we have this argument.
Why would you? I'm trying to understand why you would struggle. You know, you should know her by now. Like I'm just talking,
that's true.
You know,
you should,
every man should know his woman, and every woman should know her man. You know,
so she should know that I'm actually looking. I want some.
And even if I'm unassuming, I don't realize actually maybe this guy is really. Why don't you just come and you know, little things,
or just say, babe, I want sex. Exactly. See, that's gonna be so romantic. See.
Why don't you come? Why don't you sit down next to me? You know, we're sitting across from each. Provided there's been no other issues. I'm assuming there's been no other issues, because obviously, you know, when we have the silent treatment, sometimes it's because something has happened and is festering. And if nothing's happened, you know, just come sit next to me, touch me, do something, you know, to get my attention, and then I get the signal.
Okay.
You know, then I get the signal. Okay, I think we're up to something here. You know, and then we can start to play this music. But if you're sitting there and looking and thinking, ooh, what will she say? Then I'm actually struggling with that, because you're married now, and sex should be given like food in your home. You know, you don't go to the fridge and go, should I take the milk? Like,
you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. In your household, it might be different.
Yeah.
Because you're the woman, but trust me, you'll be surprised how sex sometimes we don't talk about it. No, I'm not saying me, but a lot of couples are like, really? Yeah. Oh, now you want sex? After you did what you did? After Or, on the flip side, we have sex. And then later, if I do something, oh, you did this, and next time you're gonna want sex. Oh, you know, and then now that's gonna be used again, weaponizing, as we call it. You know, you make the man feel guilty now because you've had sex. Now you've done something. Now, and expect to have sex next time after you did what you did. You know.
Then I want to just come back again, Chris, and just say there is something else underlying there.
Yeah.
You can't just come off and just making an issue out of everything, mountains out of moles sometimes. Why are we not sitting down and having honest and open conversations
about what's going on?
Because that's what we should. It's ongoing. Conversations, communication in
Don't
marriage
stop.
is ongoing. It
stop.
doesn't stop. You're never too old enough, too mature enough, or I know enough in marriage. We are learning all the time, every day. Look at me, 29 years in, and 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting in a traditional marriage ceremony, and they're saying marriage, being a husband or a wife is an office. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
But I've been at it for 29 years, and I've been trying my best and still trying my best, but I just never. So it takes something like that to sort of reignite something in you. Oh my God. A certain consciousness in you. Okay, I ought to be dealing with this differently. I ought to be treating it like this, So we never stop learning and we never stop communicating, So we shouldn't be coming to a place whereby, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to react, because you are not being open. You are not being honest with yourself and with each other, Conversations.
Talking about conversations and communication, how about this silent treatment? It's another one that I find a problem with. And I think, personally for me, I don't think it should be, especially in a relationship. It wastes a lot of time when you're not talking to each other, and then you go on for long periods of time. You can go on for days without talking to your spouse.
Some have gone for months. I hear so many stories. And some go for months, and you're like, oh no, so we haven't been talking for the last 4 months. You're like, okay. But you're just giving the devil room to do his antics in that marriage. What is it? What has gone so wrong that it's taking you that long to resolve? Yes, there'll be disagreements. You're two individuals. You're never going to agree on everything. But what is it that has happened, that you are struggling to resolve, or you're not even making an effort? Because if we say struggling, there's some effort, but you're actually not making an effort to resolve, And if it's that bad, why are we not getting help?
So maybe it's an ego thing where you're thinking she did something, or because I've got to a place where the lady, she might do something wrong, but we end up with this silent treatment, but I have to come and apologize for a mistake, just to keep the peace, just to try and have the conversation, which is wrong, obviously.
That's absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, so this silent treatment happens, you are quiet for so long until when by the time you start talking to each other, even forget what did we argue about?
Yeah.
Because you've been quiet for so long.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask a question and say, so when people, because this is just a question maybe to the audience as well, when people are going quiet, when we're giving each other the silent treatment, what are we actually fixing? Or are we actually not destroying?
Yeah.
Because in that time when we're not communicating, we're thinking, well, he has to start this. And no, I'm not going to start this. He has to say so. And I'm thinking that, so it's a back and forth. I'm having an individual conversation in my head, and so are you. But we're bringing nothing to the table because there's an elephant in the room that we're both refusing to address. So if we choose not to address that elephant, let's call it an elephant, then we are giving room for other things in our marriage, because then the next best thing, I'm going to go to work, and there's Chris in the office who is ever so attentive, who has got such a beautiful listening ear, and I'm going to start pouring out to Chris, this is what's happening, we're not even talking, and it's like, oh my God, and he's going to hug me, he's going to give me a cup of coffee, anytime, we're going to start texting. Oh, can you believe I'm home? He's not even talking, like that kind of thing. And then we're creating all sorts of unnecessary trouble because of something that we could have dealt with. There is no argument, disagreement too big that should be allowed to fester like that. Yes, you could, I think, I don't know whether it's actually, the Bible does say, you shouldn't go to bed angry.
It does. We know that.
Yeah, but
we know that very clearly.
We don't quite live up to that. But at least, even if we're doing a few days in, we should then come to a place where somebody just, just humbles up and goes, look, I think we need to talk. Let's talk about this. I know clearly there is something going on here. We take time out. Whether we're going to go and get a copy over it or we sit in the bedroom and talk about it, but it has to be addressed, because whatever you refuse to address, will come back and it will haunt you. It has a way of coming back and it will hit you so hard, And then when we have created that big thing out of that mole, we are then in a place where we're thinking, can we actually carry on? Are we going to keep this? Or is it time to just find our separate paths and move on? Which is not right, because we didn't come into marriage to go our separate ways. We came into marriage to stay, to fulfill this covenant thing, So I'm not saying this because I know it all or I've got it right or I'm getting it right. I'm also learning too. And I also have those days, the style and treatment days where, okay, well, you'll start. I don't know. And you're like that for days.
But you don't leave it for long.
Yeah. You can't afford to. You need to get to a place where you go, actually, look, okay, I'm upset, but, in the grand scheme of things, is it really worth destroying my marriage because of this? And I would like to believe that he would also be, thinking like that, but somebody really needs to be the bigger person when we get to that and address those things. It's not easy. Like I said, we're learning every day. Every single day we're learning and we're growing, and we should be growing. Yeah.
Hallelujah. We've got to leave it there. Time is fast spent.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I know.
Time's gone so quick,
It does go quick.
Oh
It
my
does go
God.
quick. Our conversations never seem to end. It's like one thing leads into another, and we go on and on like
We'll have
that.
to do this again.
But maybe we
Maybe?
should. Well, we can make
We'll
a
talk
plan.
about it.
Let's make
We'll
a
talk
plan
about
to pick up on this conversation and see where it takes us. But it's been great. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, I've
Thank
missed
you.
the studio, and it's been great.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and join us for the next episode. Bye for now.